On a more serious note, Daniel, why was that important for you to partner with a group like Merck?
Well, in a number of ways. Obviously, when we started out, our fund raising process, obviously we had clear strategy. But part of the strategy was, again, we wanted to have a strategic investor. So that was part. And then in this, oh, sorry, okay. So capital was an important factor. It's no secret that there are that many LPs left in the asset class, and as we've seen in Series A, just for company financing, we're seeing that corporate or strategic investors, they're in one of the two deals. So we were clearly seeing that, but then that led us to think, well, that's great. But we'd like to go, one step above that, and we'd like to have a partner within our fund that we can have this, ongoing dialogue with respect to therapeutic areas, with respect to, selection of opportunities, with respect to access for expertise to help our portfolio companies if and when needed. That's clearly not our portfolio companies. They wish, they think it's going to be helpful. It's available to them. We think that's very valuable for entrepreneurs and companies in our portfolio. So that's sort of the reasons that led us to think that we wanted to have a big pharma partner and to have Merck as a partner that has got a long history of scientific excellence. We're thrilled to have them as our partner.
In fact, on our side at Teralys, as you know, we invest in IT, in clean tech, and life sciences, and depending on the sectors, we have different criteria. On the life science part, the criteria that we've put ahead were on top of the normal one, which is will we make more money than we're putting in? The three criteria that we've put in was, first, you need $150 million and more for a life science fund. Second part was, we need a management team, GPs, that have history of relationship outside of Quebec with the international world. And the third level was, in this new model evolving in life sciences, you need to have corporate partnership, in this case, pharmas. So when Lumira and Merck came up, for us, it was a perfect setup that we wanted to have and make happen in Montreal. We also invested in the same period in another fund that you might know, which is TVM, which is a deal with TVM Venture Group, Life Sciences, and Eli Lilly in the same kind of format. Going back to Reid, why Quebec?
So there's two reasons. So why Quebec?
Tell us the truth.
Yeah, no. So it's not just the baseball thing. We did want to make sure, first of all, it's three, right? So we wanted to make sure that we had coverage in Canada because actually, looking historically, Merck has done a lot of deals with companies in Canada, kind of disproportionate to what the expectation might be. It's kind of like Japan in that way, that geographically, Canada has kind of hit above its weight. So there was that. And then it happened that I was very fortunate that at the same time that we were getting the fund concept up and approved, so that was a $250 million authorization. At the same time, Merck had made this, unfortunately, due to the pressures on the industry, had to make a decision to reduce our footprint of research sites around the globe. And as a consequence of that, we made a very painful decision to close down the Merck Frost research site in Kirkland. And as part of that wind down, Merck made a commitment to the government of Quebec that we would, over 5 years, invest $100 million to support research and innovation in the area. And it was kind of left open how that could be accomplished. But the expectation was that it would be a combination of research grants, investments or deals with Canadian companies in the province, and theoretically investments. And so we had deployed some capital to Amochem as an initial foray into this. And as soon as we start to look at this, it seemed like this was actually a perfect vehicle where we could put some of this money to work in a way that really would, because it's going to be directed toward company creation, satisfy both the intent of supporting innovation, but actually starts to really move toward the economic development agenda, which was also the spirit of the commitment. Because if you create new companies, you create jobs and you create downstream economic development. And so, given that we actually already had a very good relationship with Lumira, it's just one of those things where everything kind of came together and we found ourselves running out of reasons why not to do it. There was, right, and and then in terms of the structure, we had talked about, there were a lot of ways we could have done this as like a sidecar investment or something in Lumira too. But we really wanted to stay true to our promise and our intent of supporting early stage innovation. And so the investment thesis of the Merck Lumira Fund is actually skewed more towards early stage and more toward therapeutics, right, than the general fund. And so it made sense to structure it out. But I have to say, even then, we're still kind of, are we talking ourselves into something? Do we have a good view of the universe? And we really felt even better about the decision as soon as Teralys came into the deal, because coming completely independently, looking at the landscape from a financial perspective and not from our kind of mixed bag view, that really made us feel good, because it felt like we were, in a sense, it sort of endorsed our position. And the fact that now our capital is being leveraged to a higher degree obviously makes us very happy, because that means maybe one more company that gets funded rather than what we thought. So that kind of encapsulates the why Quebec.
Thanks for these kind words. In fact, since you're going to have to leave us fairly soon, one last question, and then we would go to open questions in the room. You both invest directly and indirectly. You're an LP, and you invest directly. I'm an entrepreneur. I show up at your door. What do you do?
Right. Okay. So we needed to constrain our behavior in some ways, or else we would in fact have to create a business of being a venture capital. So one thing that we decided we'd do is that we're not lead rounds. So then we're not going to be, we're not going to price deals. We're not going to build entrepreneur teams. But then that leaves us with what happens if a hot project shows up in our door. And so our strategy for that is, we'll listen to the pitch, we'll have the conversation, and then the first thing that we can do is offer to actually help kind of shop around the entrepreneur or the company to help them find a lead investor. And so depending on the fit with the strategy, that might be one of our strategic partners, but it doesn't have to be, right? And so the fact that we can invest directly means that if we really like an idea, we can also bring it along with a soft commitment and say, look, if Lumira wants to come in to lead the deal, maybe Merck is in for $2 million in the Series A, and it helps to things move down the road. If we say that we want to do direct investing in really interesting companies, but we're not going to lead rounds, that means that somewhere we have to talk ourselves into the syndicate for really good companies. And so that keeps the pressure on us to really bring value besides the money. We really do have to bring that access to Merck expertise, or else we're just another financial investor.
Thanks. Open for questions. Any questions from the room? Don't be shy. Yes?
Reid, that's terrific news about the big fund. Have you already invested in a couple of things, or are you still sort of waiting?
Yeah, so we've not yet made our first direct investment. We've really been paying attention to getting these strategic partnerships closed, and it's a big alliance management project, to get all the teams kicked off. So we do have a couple deals now that we're kind of in early diligence around. But right now, there are things that are really internal referrals. So they're very interesting opportunities that have come in through business development, but where, based on our strategy, it's not the right time or it's not the appropriate business tool. And that's really why we created the fund. So although our plan doesn't call for us to do any direct investing this year, I'm hoping that we'll get one done anyway, just to kind of get it started.
Other questions? No other questions? I must tell you that you've heard a lot about, over the last few days, few years, about the importance of relationship, partnership. In this case, you just heard of a three-party relationship, and something that came out of that is that with Merck, we're co-investing in another fund together to build on that relationship. So I would urge you to think about the long term in everything you do and about the relationship that you have with all of you and ourselves. Have a great day. Thanks.
Thank you. Merci.